still nighttime, you'd set off several alarms, tripped into a few traps, and Laris had managed to go and find a student identification badge. And I think that's where we left.
I think so. Pretty close to that, anyhow. We were discussing if we were going to continue exploring the tower or move on after the necromancer and come back to finish exploring later.
Yes.
I think we got to the point where we're just kind of like, we realized this was going to take a while and maybe we should actually do our quest.
Yeah. Just keep going.
Very tall, cool, magical tower, yes. Okay. So are you guys going to start descending the stairs? Is that the idea? Or you want to continue for a few floors?
I'm going downstairs.
Yeah, I'll follow whatever the group decides.
Yep. Alaris will just kind of follow along behind Bassam or Auntie, whichever personality is in control right now, and she's polishing her student ID.
Dearie, it's not going to be it's not going to rust. You don't have to polish it all that much, dear.
No, I just want it to be shiny. I mean, it's cool, and I mean, I know
what's the name on the student ID.
I'm not sure. What is the name on it?
I hadn't bothered coming up with one. We'll say that it's in like a Triton language, and then if you speak Triton, so you don't know, but you recognize it.
So Alaris will kind of make a burbling sound to the best of her ability, like trying to sound out, but it doesn't make any sense because it's Triton and she's not underwater.
Yeah.
So technically, Auntie still has comprehend languages cast, so...
Okay, then what Alaris sounds out is obviously not correct, but it sounds kind of like the Triton equivalent to Bob. Robert, Bob for short.
I knew a Bob once. He was an unusual fellow.
So since we have an ID now, should we try to make more? Especially if we get separated in here.
More ideas?
Yes.
Can you do that? I mean, that would be very convenient if we can do that.
I was hoping someone with magic abilities could do it. I'm just a cook.
Yeah, just that multiplication spell. You're like, I have one apple and I want two.
I don't know about the rest of them, but my powers have always been more esoteric and supportive in nature. I don't much make things as much as I facilitate the making of things.
So can you facilitate making another one?
I saw that coming.
I know, me too.
Well, I mean, I could make you better at it. Do you have like a particular skill in forgery? I could make you more dexterous, or I could make you more. I could give you more strength. I would imagine this would require more intelligence than anything else. I could make you more intelligent, but actually the physical nature of making the ID, I don't have the supplies, dearie.
Well, if you want an ID that you can eat, I can make one. But other than that, I don't think I could do it.
That seems convenient. Like, if you made it out of like some type of like starch, it would be both an ID and it would like serve as emergency rations in worst case scenarios.
Well, I wouldn't want
It'd be
food to go
very
bad.
environmentally friendly too.
I mean, I can always try to make one.
Yeah, I would let you try. I mean, you would have to tell me what your plan is here. Like, are you going to make like a silicon type mold and press the dough in, and then just kind of?
And what is his cooking ability score? Because I will go ahead and cast enhance ability for
Yeah, I'm
that
not
score.
necessarily sure what if I have a number for my cooking ability, but
I was gonna say I don't think that's a.
yeah. So what I was thinking about doing, because like throughout the whole places that we've had a chance to go through, there's wood, there's other things that I could possibly make a mold out of if I wanted to make a mold. I'm pretty sure I also have cookie cutters and things like that just within my whole repertoire of cooking utensils, so I could possibly do it that way. But I would try to make something like out of rice paper or something else that just something that's a little bit more pliable, something we can actually use, and then go from there.
So I'm gonna go ahead and every time he starts trying to make something to craft this ID, cast guidance on him.
Okay. 2 things really quick. I'm going to let you guys do this thing, and then something else happens. So you could find, you were talking about finding things like wood, rice paper to help facilitate this. You definitely can find a lot of that on this 3rd floor in the storage rooms for these classes, especially the biochemistry one would have a lot of samples of things in jars, to see how they react to different chemicals. So you can find everything you're looking for to do this. And go ahead and do that. Once this experiment is done, though, something is going to happen.
So my goal is to make a younger version of everyone that would be in high school pictures for the school when I make their pictures. You know what I mean? Like you have an ID that looks like you but doesn't look like you.
So sorry, I should have specified. So they're not identification badges in that there's like a picture on them. Think more like child's sheriff badge, with it's just like.
Oh, that's way easier then.
Yeah,
it's
just a shape that has like the school crest on it and their name around the border. That's all it is.
What shape though? Is it the same as the mascot?
It's circular, yeah. So it's the same as the sigil that you see on the ground.
Okay. So what would you like me to roll?
So we're gonna be baking cookies. Is what I'm hearing right now.
Yeah,
Right.
You're baking cookies. No one
But
has
I wouldn't be using my pan to make cookies because I'm baking.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to make something, I don't think I'd use my pan to make.
Yeah,
cookies.
you wouldn't be using your pan. However, you also. Okay, so if we're going to do all this, you'll need to find a place to cook first. So where do you want to go?
I can't just cook out there. I can't just make a fire like
we can make an oven. I'm sure we have enough stones and fire.
Yeah, well, same if there's a home economic class or there's like a pottery like.
You haven't found that yet. I'm not going to say there's not one, but you haven't found it yet. You see tables and things. There are different areas you could go to, but right now you're just standing in the hallway by the stairs.
Okay, well, if there's lab, there might be like a Bunsen burner that comes to mind for experiments, a place that we possibly could cook, where we don't have to worry about that.
That would be in the lab to the north where the.
Unfortunately, Auntie probably already broke all that.
Yeah, that was in the lab that Auntie had her
Yeah, the fight with the golem.
You can find all the pieces, I'll mend them.
It was a glass golem. God, guys.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Save our life. So if we want to do that, I was thinking we could there. If that's fine with you, if you want us to go and scavenge around the different rooms further.
By all means, yeah. I would say to find all the pieces, get the burners that you would need. Whoever wants to participate, join in, make investigation checks to find all the pieces.
You want us to do what checks?
Investigation. While this is happening, Arazu, something happened. Do you want to share?
Oh, so is there an order to them? Because I hadn't seen either before just now.
So you should actually only have one, which is confusing. What are they titled for you?
Incoming sending so messages, both of them. One says my name, the other one says Luchin.
Okay, yes. So you see yours first. You do not see Lucian's.
Okay, then I will close that one.
Yeah. You'll end up reading it, that's fine. It's not like you weren't supposed to see it, but that doesn't happen yet.
Gotcha. So Arazu pulls out one of his cool sending stones things and holds it up to his ear, I imagine. Listens. And then says, Urdu? Are you there? Urdu?
So
Urdu called and she trailed off. She's gone.
The sending stones, I realized last time we used them, we were using them just like a cell phone, and I forgot that they're supposed to have a word cap. So we're gonna start enabling that now, and the word cap is 30, because when I wrote what I wrote, I couldn't get it below 30, but I could get it to 30. So it's 30 in my game instead of 25, because I said so. So yeah, Arazu just got a message. Oh, looks like something happened with Jin.
Yeah.
What happened?
Jin got 2 messages too.
Again, only read the one labeled for Jin.
All right. Yeah. Because I got one from Lucian too.
Everyone can see the one for Lucian. That's going to happen when he comes upstairs and joins you. So, Arazu gets a message on his sending stone, and then Jin gets a message on his sending stone. Would you guys like to share what that is, or keep that private? If you want to share, I'll just read it.
Well, so far all I've done is expressed concern that Urdu was sending a message and is no longer there.
Yeah, all of a sudden the sending stones are functioning weird. They're not doing what they were before.
And she didn't answer when I said, Urdu, are you still there?
Yeah, no, she did not.
I'm just gonna say I think there's something wrong with Urdu. She found something that was still alive, but then something about a punctured lung, and now she's not answering anymore.
Do you say anything?
I said, Urdu, are you there?
And then Jin's stone. I don't know quite, like, the books don't say, does the sending stone, like, does it vibrate? Does it pulsate with magic? Like, I don't know what happens, but
I
whatever.
have mine on silent, so it vibrates.
Okay, so yours is vibrating. Okay, so I don't know, Jin's, does yours play a little tune or something, but that's why I worded it. The sending stone gets your attention. So it gets your attention.
But yeah, Arazu has said exactly that. Like, his message was out loud, but he said it, and then he said, I think there's something wrong with Urdu. She said she had one of them alive, but something about a punctured lung, and then the message dropped off.
Yeah, and then I'll be like, yeah, I got a message from her too. She was mad because it got cut off, her message to you, and she got stabbed. So, but Golem's got him. Don't worry. But then she got cut off again. So
She stabbed herself, or the thing she was dissecting stabbed her.
all I got was she was trying to get a message to you about this jerk. Kind of stabbed me.
Ow, so much blood. Got it.
I'm assuming it's like between the two of us, we got a full message here. I'm sure.
Yeah, so especially with Arazu's ability for recall, we'll say that he could share that, yeah, the message was that someone was there or something happened. They're still alive, not sure how long, might have punctured a lung. And then Jin's stone goes off saying, damn thing cut me off. I was just trying to get a hold of Arazu. So it kind of stabbed me. Golem's got him. Don't worry. And it cuts off again. Bad reception. And
Jin's out here trying to hold his sending stone up in the air.
Arazu's shaking his.
Yes.
I was gonna say I got a 8 for my roll, and Scott got a 15. But I was gonna ask, since we're talking about the sending stones, would you allow us to have more than one? 'Cause I don't want to get my hopes up, especially if we're limited.
It would be, well, they will definitely have a more properly limited function from now on. I kind of blanked on that. You would have to ask Guy, and you would have to.
I think we already did ask Guy, and he was gonna make small ones for us or something like that. Or am I imagining that from a different dude?
I
The
know
one that-
me and Arazu have them, but
Yes, and
we
you
got
have
them from Urdu. So
from Urdu. Those are hers. So
Yeah.
they're direct lines to them. So you could bring it up with them when you see them again for sure. But as you guys are investigating, I'll say between the two of you, you find more than enough pieces to put together a full Bunsen burner. And if Wiskava does want to help by casting Mend to put that together, you now have a functioning esoteric version of a Bunsen burner. And as that's happening, Lucian is coming up the stairs. He'll get there once we resolve.
We don't need a Bunsen burner. We need an oven.
Yeah, but you said you wanted to use a Bunsen burner to make an oven. Yes?
I feel like this is really weird.
Yeah, remember, we gotta punch the trees in order to get the paper.
Yeah. By hand.
We punch the trees and we make it the wood in order for us to make an axe to make it easier.
But then you have to make a wood axe first to cut down the tree, and then or break some stone or something. Anyway, if you want to make a makeshift oven, I will allow you to. It will just take longer.
Okay, is it portable?
No, you do not have enough to make a portable oven.
It's just got tiny little wheels.
Put it this way.
No, I'm just saying it's like a little box. If we're just doing like a little small little oven that we can, like an
An
easy bake oven kind of thing.
Yeah, easy bake oven size. then yeah, sure you can, but it will be extremely heavy. But you're big, so you can carry it. It cannot serve as anything other than a really shitty child's oven, though. I will let you know. I won't let you make like a roast dinner or something in there. It's just
Okay, well, I tried to
Just
invent
in
the
a
light
big
bulb.
pan, like a Dutch oven.
yeah, that's basically what it is.
Oh,
You would've
I was
said-
actually imagining that between the two of them, Doll and Bassam and Auntie, have invented the light bulb so that they can make an easy bake oven.
No, I'm gonna- I will not
You got
allow
it.
you
We
to.
did it.
Nope.
Good job, everybody.
Well, they invented a light bulb, but without electricity, they really can't prove that they invented it. So
They don't
So
even
what
know
you
what it
have-
is. They're like,
yeah,
what
It's a
is
gas
this?
light bulb.
What you have is a strange shaped glass thing with metal tubey bits in it. That's weird, and you chuck it over your shoulder and go back to your tin can. That's You're like, I don't know what that's about.
This is a really shitty way to bake things. Break.
Besides, make me buy cookies.
Yeah, so what would you like me to roll then, so we can make our IDs?
What have you been using to roll your cook checks? Because I would just say to use that again.
Just a D20. That's all it was, because it wasn't anything special. Because it was dealing with the pan.
Okay, but if Auntie's
I'm giving him
What-
guidance. I was gonna give him, if it was an ability check, I was gonna give him enhanced ability, but because it's
You
not
can
an
just-
ability check, I will go ahead and just give. Or since it's not tied to an ability score, I'll just
Right.
give him guidance on it.
yeah, sure. So go for it with guidance.
So we add
D20 plus 4.
1d4.
Yeah.
And I'll be right back.
And D4. So 17.
Okay, 17 total. You, since it's not coming out of the pan and it's an oven, you actually get the foodstuffs you put in coming out. You put in cookie things and out come cookies. So everyone is astonished. Oh my God, you made cookies that turned into cookies and not like filet mignon or something. But they are shaped vaguely like the badges. They're not quite perfect, but you have cookies. I will just say like they're standard. They're like would be chocolate chip but without the chocolate chip. So just plain cookies that have the shape of the school sigil on them.
Well, what kind of cookies do they smell like, though? That's the question. Like, they look like chocolate chip? They smell like something else? Because I'm thinking,
odorless.
If you wanted to, cinnamon would be available on the island. So if you wanted to make them cinnamon, they could be cinnamon.
They're
But
snickerdoodles.
yeah, they could basically be like snickerdoodles if you
no,
want.
I
I'm
do
going
love
to
a
eat
good
it.
snickerdoodle.
I can't do snickerdoodles because they'd be gone. I'd be like, hey, guys, everyone, oh, whoops, there's just crumbs. Let me make some more.
They'd be like, guys, are they cook? Oh man, I don't know what happened to them. They're gone.
They look like chocolate chip cookies, but you don't know if those are chocolate chips.
Could be raisins.
I believe they're raisins.
Yeah, they're chocolate. Okay, so Doll starts handing out what he doesn't explain. I'm assuming he hands out what look like chocolate chip cookies, and we'll leave it at that for now. So
Auntie will
everyone
go
is
ahead
now-
and pin it to her, like, dress.
Question: how you pinning it? How's that? It's a cookie. Where? How are you?
Well, I can make it so that there's like a little spot where I can put a pin through.
What do you mean make the cookie so that there's a spot? Are you saying you'll just have a long skewer and they can stab through the cookie,
Yep.
through the shirt, back out?
I'm sure I have
Okay,
many
then that's what it is.
needles or
I can even just
safety
put like a hole in
pin
the
or-
center so they can actually have it so it looks more like a button.
Auntie has extra knitting needles, and she lets everyone borrow a knitting or a crochet needle, and that's what you use to stab your cookie to your shirt.
Attach. We don't want to stab.
Yeah. Or is it?
Arizu, sleight of hand, pretends to eat his cookie, but really he makes it, vanish into somewhere.
Not supposed to eat it. Here's,
Okay.
it's
He's
not
not
supposed
really
to
eating it, but that's what he's
Now we're
making
gonna
it.
have to start all over.
Those were the ID badges.
Damn, Arizu, I made it for you to look at, not for you to eat. Don't you know
I'm
the
your
difference between
incognito.
real food and not food?
I don't need a student badge. It's okay.
As you guys are handing out cookies, we'll say Lucian comes up the stairs and walks in and just kind of stands there for a second observing the chaos. So he has rejoined you. But,
Hey, Lucian.
You need a badge too? I can make another one. Just need a little bit of time.
I'm okay. Thanks, though.
They
Sure.
smell
I'm not-
real
I'm not really
nice.
hungry
They
right
smell real nice. Nothing is like
They do.
good badges right out of the oven. And make your mouth water just thinking about that good old badge being pinned to your chest.
Look,
Have you gotten
sure? 'Cause I
word
gotta make
from your
another one
boss?
for Ares since he ate his.
Yeah, you're already down one badge.
Have you gotten word from your boss? It seems like there may have been an issue.
My boss? Oh, you must mean
Have you
Guy.
heard from Urdu? Because-
I don't think so. Conveniently, at that exact moment, he also had his sending stone on silent, and it starts to vibrate. As I pulls it out, I'm just gonna. Can you guys see that?
Oh my god!
Yeah.
It popped up out of nowhere.
Oh, shut up. Okay, good. So you can see it. So this is what happens. He gets a. You can all hear, since we'll pretend he has on speakerphone. You can hear Urdu's voice echo out over the stone, saying, basically that she was checking her traps. Something sprung up on her. She's not even that badly wounded, and the message cuts off.
Exactly how many codes
I'm
do you
looking
have?
around using my see invisibility for a sensor or whatever to see how she saw Lucian.
There's nothing. They know each other that well. They're brother sister, so
Oh, okay.
she just knows that he's gonna make that like.
That,
Auntie is
that
gonna look
ugly
at.
face.
Auntie's gonna look at him like, how many codes do y'all have? Because if you're using code gypsum, you must be like stretched on code words at this point.
He shrugs and just explains. Guys into stones. It's just like a hardness scale for types of stones. This is just part of it. She came up with it when we were kids, and we never really bothered changing it.
I've always found like colors or shapes tend to be a more useful thing, but I mean, you do you, I guess.
I think it just helped her remember what was what. This guy was pretty insistent that we learn these things, for all that neither of us utilize them.
Where are these traps?
She has them littered all over Naaka, but I'm assuming that she's talking about the ones to the northern side of Guy's territory on the estate. So, yeah, I will pull up the map just so you...
And what exactly does code gypsum mean? Just
It means that someone has gotten into our territory and injured her, but they have been detained. So, wrong map. Damn it.
Jen, you seem pretty close to the Urdu. You want to head back?
Yes, please.
Yeah, Lucian's already started walking through. He goes, oh, okay, you guys are coming with.
Yeah,
All right.
we're coming with.
Okay. So yeah, the area that he was indicating is, so Guy's territory was to the kind of like northeastern area of Avikro. So up here, the trap would then be probably on the other side of the fields of his estate near the border of the trees.
Okay. At which point,
Well, perhaps we could go through this little hot spot to get there.
If you'd like to, you can
Check
pass
it
through
out
the
on the
forest.
way.
Yeah, let's
Lucian-
pass through the forest. That's probably haunted.
let's go out of our way to pass through the forest.
Haunted? How dare you, sir? That's for later. No, Lucian is familiar enough with the forest that he offers to guide you through the shortcut because that's what he was going to do anyway.
Yeah, sounds good.
It sounds good to me. At which point, I'm like, now, if we're gonna be traveling, I'm gonna switch back. It's not good for the old for these old knees. And she's gonna switch back to Bassam, who then looked down and was like, oh, Auntie left me cookies, and then we'll go ahead and.
Damn it,
Start
Tom,
getting her
you
cookie.
too? Why does everyone keep eating the cookies when I don't want to eat the cookies? But every time I want you guys to
Are
eat
you-
the cookies, I want to eat it.
She's like
Okay,
in the
two-
middle about like, oh, okay.
It's a badge. Can't you tell the difference between food and no food?
Kava will just lean over as she walks by towards Bassam and just say, it's probably a constipation cookie anyway.
I love the constipation cookie. Wait, what?
Well, no, because
You-
actually Bassam has felt this multiple times. It's like, oh.
Out of character, I won't say change. I have added to Doll's cooking chart. So hopefully will be enticed to eat more.
So
frequently.
Auntie will be less backed up for the night.
Yeah.
Auntie keeps on eating the food and then switching to Basam when the other time comes.
Yeah, right? Every time she comes back to consciousness, she's like, I am blocked up. Okay, so you guys leave the tower. I'm assuming you pick up Florian. The eco bird is still there hanging out with him.
Okay.
Lucian pulls little beetles he had out of a pouch and feeds them to the bird, and it takes off. Actually, I guess it would stay long enough to eat, but as you guys start moving, eventually when you hit the trees, it will probably take off.
Does it say anything different?
I thought it was like a toucan. Why is it eating bugs?
Yeah.
Toucans can eat bugs too. He's using that massive shell or massive beak to crunch through the shell. The ecos eat both insects and fruit.
All right, good enough for me.
Whatever they can. If you want to try and speak to it, yes, go ahead.
Hey, bird, you got anything new to say?
You're not tired of my voice yet?
No, of course not.
Never.
Can't just eat and run.
Well,
Everybody
I'm
here pays.
apparently scared of this forest too. It probably is haunted.
It's not scared of the forest.
If it's leaving before the forest, it probably is.
Well, it's just not from that forest. Remember, it was sent. You guys knew, or Ilaris knew, that it came from the forest further west. At least this time of year. That's where usually they hang out. But if you guys want to ask it questions, the messenger spell has worn off, so you no longer have to deal with it speaking exclusively in rhyme.
But just ask it to see if it actually can talk. Say, can you understand us?
Yeah, can you understand me?
What was that?
Mm.
Okay. And does anyone else want to say anything? Because I mean, I'm trying to figure out if there's any other messages. The only thing I'd ask it is who sent it. And if they have questions for us, they can find us where we're going to head to.
Is that what you said? Okay. Druids sent me. I don't know if they want to talk to you. I know they sent me to find you and deliver my message, but you know what the messages were. It's really disinterested.
Yeah,
But-
this bird has an attitude now.
It really does. I know. It's
Like a
so-
teenager.
Well, if you remember before, it had the same attitude. It was just a matter of it had to recite what was given to it.
It had like this air of superiority before when it had a job to do.
Yeah, and now it's like,
just like
yeah, basically. So it does. Oh yeah, you remember from the dialogue that it had been given to repeat to you before. The druids do want to see you and speak to you. You know that the witches do as well. It hadn't in the recorded messages. It hadn't specified whether the witches or druids had sent it because it didn't matter. But now it's confirming that it was the druids who sent it through the help of the witches. Maybe it will add on.
but not the witches across the water at Makator Isle.
Yes, the witches across the
Oh,
water.
okay.
Yeah.
Was those ones that sent the bird?
Yeah. No, the druids sent the bird, but the witches on the island helped.
Oh, gotcha.
So you can let your masters know where we're going to be. If they need our help, they can either give us a little incentive. We got something to take care of, and we'll get back to you when we do.
The bird didn't say anything.
Some
kind
of us
bothered.
are going to help no matter what.
And we'll get on gate. If we ain't going to help, you ain't going to pay for your food. We don't need you here.
I think you're lovely, and I like your feathers, and you can stay if you'd like.
It bobs more at Wiskava and just kind of hops a bit on Florian's back, settles closer, like
Oh,
kind
what?
of turning its head dismissively away from Doll.
So
And then
Florian
I-
is with us right now.
And then I offer it my cookie.
It eats the cookie in one bite, makes a comment like raisins.
Erzu was asking
Doll
about,
look-
he was asking about Florian because I was going to sneak my cookie that I palmed earlier to Florian. While I was talking to the bird.
Would Florian eat the cookie, Muskava?
I mean, if it was given to him, that's not really what he eats. But,
But
You just have to wait for him to open his mouth and throw it in.
I mean, he would do it.
oh. If he didn't, Katsu would. I'm sure.
Probably not a great thing for it, but I don't know. I mean, it's just a cookie. It's mostly flour.
I'm not gonna need any con checks. We'll just say
Yeah.
that they can eat this cookie in this instance.
Perfectly good cookie.
Yeah, it's just a standard cookie. It's not really sugary or anything. It's fine.
Probably smells better than anything he's cooked so far.
Probably. Huh? And you guys start heading through the forest. If anyone wants to make survival checks, they are welcome to. Oh, otherwise I have my dice
I'm gonna
bag.
toss some up there for sure. I like that skill.
BRB, I forgot my dice.
And since we're pressed for time, I shall pray for guidance.
Wow, Scotty's camera's all like zoomed in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering why.
I thought
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
going
Because
to
I
be-
finally got my good camera to work, and I have the wrong lens for it.
Yeah, for half your face.
I don't remember paying for Scott HD. TV.
You know that meme that just has the real close up of the guy's face as it like
That's
slowly
what I
turns
was thinking
sideways?
of. Like,
That's what's
Oh, I
got me.
just-
Sorry,
I do the nose.
okay, I'm gonna switch back to my normal camera. Sorry.
it's okay.
That's what the people want. That's what we get Patreon.
I was gonna say at least it's better quality than the other camera I was using that was zoomed in and also really blurry.
There, that should be better.
God, you're so far away. Why did you withdraw from us?
Okay, I can switch back. Maybe it's harder. Nope, I can't. It takes a bit to get Roll20 to cooperate with my camera.
Let's see. Okay. So
18 on survival.
okay. While you're doing that, Lucian will as well, just because
Because he wants to show off how much cooler he is than us.
you're so salty. No, he actually just is not. I mean, you aren't holding hands, but he's walking with you. I'm assuming if you're leading the survival pit, I'm assuming you're helping lead the group
Is
direction.
he climbing trees better than her?
He's not climbing trees. Stop encouraging him being salty.
Yeah,
I
she
don't
didn't
like
see what I typed in the message earlier, so I'm not in trouble for that yet.
What did you type in the message earlier?
Yeah, I saw it.
Did you not remember my threat from last
I
time?
didn't say it. I typed it.
So, as you guys are moving through the forest, Lucian and Arazu are walking kind of sort of near each other, leading your group. Arazu trips over a root and Lucian doesn't. Nothing else significant happens, but now that's noted because you need to shoot. So, other than that, you guys make it fine. It is a much faster route than going back down along the trail, and you can make it, says you're traveling through the night, you get there late morning instead of what it would have been maybe afternoon or next night. You guys are basically running on like red eye time now because you slept at a really weird time and have been exploring all day.
Okay, I just had a. So, are we in a Vicro or are we in the forest?
You are currently moving through the forest, heading towards the northernmost part of Guy's estate, which you would hit before you hit Evikro proper, because
Right.
it is to the north.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we haven't hit his estate yet. We're in the forest. Right?
Not yet. Not yet.
Are we on a trajectory where we'll hit that, or are we going by it?
Your here, let me draw a little line because the most expedient. Ooh, I don't want that color. Let's go with this. No, that's even worse. Here, okay. So the most direct route would be actually further away from it this way. So you wouldn't necessarily hit it. You could angle that way if you wanted, but Lucian would not want to guide you there. If you bring it up, he's going to be insistent on, if you guys want to, you can. I'm going to check on Urdu.
I'm checking on Urdu because
Yeah, me too.
Like- Urdu specifically needed my assistance if it's still alive.
I'm along for the ride and making sure Katsu is well fed and.
So want a cookie? Apparently, we're just handing out cookies.
Yeah, great.
No,
Thanks,
no, no,
everybody.
no, no. Basam will respect Auntie and Doll's wishes and keep the badge on her.
Until
make sure-
Katsu eats the badge off.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
I was gonna
Katsu's
try to
a
add-
good giant chicken.
I was going to try to add any blankets or pillows that we found in the rooms and things like that I brought down to the cart, so that it's a little bit more easier for people to ride in.
Okay. I mean, they still need cleaning, but yeah, you have those.
Yeah, with prestidigitation, it's good.
That said,
There's a lingering odor of used by teen boys on them. They need a proper wash. Don't give me that look. Shush.
ew.
You're not involved. Fucking peanut gallery.
Actually, Auntie will go ahead and we'll be like feeding Katsu random stuff throughout the any of the organic stuff she found.
Just, like,
Any
picking stuff
leftover
off
stuff
trees
from
and-
Doll's cooking, like.
Okay.
Well, Auntie, if you're hungry, I can make you some real quick. Won't take long.
Well, it's Basam, but Katsu seems a little peckish.
Is that some kind of animal? I'm not really sure what that means.
Hey, my chicken, my giant chicken, the
Yeah,
one I'm
you
riding
said-
right now.
Yeah, you said it's peckish. Does that mean it's sick? Does that mean?
It's hungry. It's always
Oh,
hungry.
I thought that was a chicken joke. I'm sorry about that.
I actually think peckish might come from chickens. That would
It
make a
does.
lot of sense.
Yeah, because they're hungry, so they're pecking around for food. Yes. Yes.
Well, if we got time, I can try to make something. That little oven I brought doesn't work so well.
I would
No.
say that you would fall a little bit behind the group as they're moving, but if you're making something less complicated, you could make something in the oven in the cart as you're putting it.
I'm sure once we get to wherever we're going, we will stop, and I will be delighted to try your cooking again, and I'm sure Katsu will too. Which I imagine Katsu is making a no thing,
As
but I'm like,
expensive
hush
as
you.
a cart could get. No.
Yeah, well, see, since everyone liked my cookies so much, I think I'll make some cookies, but actual better ones. We'll try that works. Now that I got this little oven, I can whip them up real quick.
Mhm. You're such a giving person, Doll.
Well, it's the least I can do.
It's a shame about the kind of indicates the bear head, but we'll stop in the middle. Shame about the
About the what? The song? I'm not sure what you mean.
Never mind.
Is
That's
it
not
on my hair? No.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
okay.
You have a cowlick. I'm sorry.
Oh, idiot. Is that better? Is that better? No? Yes?
Not even
Sure.
close.
I'm
Okay,
pleased
today.
with that noise. For some reason, that carried
Sorry.
across the mic in just the worst way. Okay.
I will give Florian a little nod to just when he gets the chance to give Doll an actual cowlick.
Maybe you say something, I can help. You move, whatever. I mean, I can't see it, obviously.
All right. We'll figure that out as it goes. Is there anything else that anyone wanted to accomplish before leaving the forest? We'll say that you can see that the trees are getting less dense and you know that you're getting to the edge of it.
At midnight, I will have to stop and actually make tea, which might be a time for Doll to cook because I have to do my divination rolls. Because I want to be clear on this. The way it's worded in my thing, it's actually not long rest dependent. It's once per day
right?
dependent. So I have to.
Okay.
Well, if we think she's in trouble, though, we probably don't want to stop for more than a quick short rest.
Mhm.
Like, not a short rest, but like a 10-minute, get your
Break.
breather.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Smoking out.
she will actually mention. So I'm not much of a card reader, but I can do two things. I can read tea leaves, or if anyone has a live animal they're willing for me to gut, I can read their entrails. I prefer the tea leaves.
Don't believe her. That's just a way for her to get meat.
The eco that's on Florian's back hops to the other
I,
side that's far away.
Like, 3 people looked at the bird as
yeah, I just
Yeah,
look
the
at
bird
the
hops
only 2
away.
animals here.
Oh, okay. So we should be good this day.
Wow.
Nice. Very, very good. I will say this would have happened a little while ago. This would have happened right as you were entering the forest. Because you had already been exploring all night and
Okay.
but yeah, no, this is all still fine to happen and all that. This is what happened. a
She'll
while
look
ago.
straight at Wizkava. Dear, I see some. If we get into combat, you're gonna have a good time.
You're going to have a really good day.
That's great to know. And then I kind of roll my eyes because I don't think you can actually see the future.
Like, sure. That's like,
I'm sure I will. I always do.
Wait,
well,
what is the positive?
while Auntie does that, real quick, Doll, if you want to prepare something, you can, but it would have to be very short. Because we'll say, Auntie, Scott, how long would that take? Oh, sorry.
Well, so I mean, it's reading tea leaves, so I have to steep the tea. So I have to set the fire, boil the water. I'm assuming we're at. No one else is drinking tea with me, so I assume that I only have to boil a cup of water. So we're talking 7 minutes for that.
Yeah.
And then I have to let the tea cool down in order for me to actually drink it. So 15 minutes.
Okay. So you would have 15 minutes, Doll, and with a fire prepared already from Auntie.
Yeah, I would just pass out rations. Just if anyone's interested,
Okay.
I got rations to pass out since I don't have time, to display my magnificence.
Arizu shares one of his apples with Florian.
I would say these rations then would not probably be the ones cooked in the pan, so they wouldn't have any effects. These would be the rations that you had gotten from Kai. So these are rations you all recognize as having been supplied elsewhere.
They're safe. I can eat them.
Arizu has no trust whatsoever that things weren't rewrapped.
I'll say for Alaris, even better, it's like straight jerky. You can get straight meat. You don't have to worry about cram or fruit or veggies or any of that.
Wonderful.
All set. That all goes well. Everybody's had a snack. Auntie's got her rolls, and you can continue onward. Let's see. As you do reach the edge of the forest, the eco seems to have grown bored and turns to Wiskava and says, I'm going to leave now.
Bored now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for visiting us.
Thank you for letting me ride with you. This has been interesting, if nothing else. I look forward to seeing you soon.
So Bassam will actually grab his hand, but was like, look at his palm, like, I believe you will have better luck in the near future.
Wait, whose hand? The bird?
The birds?
Oh, I'm
It's the
sorry.
bird. Yeah, no,
I was away. So
it's okay. Yeah.
never mind.
It's
It's
okay.
okay.
It's just a bird. Bird don't need luck. It's okay, Aunt.
Me in the bird's palm.
To be
Grabs by the
really
wing.
fair,
Spreads the
So,
wing.
you sure you're not?
Actually, yeah, I like spread the wings out and be like,
it flaps at you and gets out of your hands like eh. To be really fair to you also though, I didn't realize until someone made the comment that the bird had an attitude. He does have a very similar attitude to Lucian, who also has a teenage emo attitude.
Mhm.
So fair enough. Yeah, the bird will nod to a couple of you and say looks forward to seeing you and take off. Yes. Okay. So as you exit the forest and reach the edge of Guy's estate, it's a downward slope from the tree line, so you see the long fields until it gets to the, if you remember, the walls that enclose the estate. Nothing seems out of the ordinary. And from here, I'll let you guys describe what you want to do or how you want to approach and do things.
Arizu's going to take the most direct path, including bypassing whatever, to get to Urdu's lab because, he's just like that.
Okay.
He's a man on a mission.
So you're going to scale the wall and go that way?
Or just, shadow jump to the other side of it. Whatever.
Okay.
Bassam
Yeah.
will look at everybody like, Jin, Laris, do you need me? I feel like the fates are making sure that I watch over Wiskava this
Like-
day.
I'm good.
No, it's like Jin will look at you both like, yeah, you guys have fun together, and he just
Deuces.
Bassam gives you a withering look, like I'm not.
Jin
Really?
gives thumbs up to Wiskava.
Oh boy. Okay. So it sounds like you'll be getting there. Well, the first one getting there would then be Arazu, unless anyone else wants to utilize special things to get there faster.
If we're going to utilize special things, I'll just cast
How-
fly on myself and fly.
How big is the property like before we actually get to the fortress?
I'm really bad at that. I can see it in my head. It's just from where, if you were to stand on top of the wall, which at least two of you I know can, you would be able to see the front door from where you're standing. So you can see that much in detail, but it's that far away. So it's not like, it's not close, but it's
Yeah.
still within sight. It's a large estate.
I'm going to stay with Lucian because we don't even know she's in the lab.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he is running at this point, but he is running towards the entrance. Arazu and Jin, you guys will get there first. Anyone who's running to keep up with Lucian will get there next, and then whoever's.
I'm
He's
running,
outrunning me? How dare
I
he?
am running with Jin and Arazu.
Okay. What? I forget. Do you have?
I'm sauntering and just keeping Wiskava in sight.
So
I've got like super monk speed. If I feel like he's trying to beat me out here, I'm gonna beat him out here.
I can, as a bonus action, take the dash action. So I'm not as fast as Arazu is.
Right. You'll
But I
get there
can-
really fast, though.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll cast fly on you too.
Yay! I get to fly for once in my life.
All these things are happening, and I feel like Bassam is just like sashaying her way down.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Bassam's taking her time. I'm imagining Doll is as well. If.
In a cart, thinking of him.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to deal with the cart, so you need to be a little more judicious about not fucking booking it. You know what, Chester?
Hmm?
He doesn't have super monk speed. Are you pleased with yourself? You get there a little before him.
Yes.
Huh? Now shut the
Yes.
fuck up.
I'm
Okay.
not good at a lot of things, but dang it, you keep taking them away.
I know. Yeah, sorry. So he will get there actually around the same time as Alaris and Jin. Arazu would be getting there first, followed by Wiskava pretty closely, and then Doll and Auntie when they get there.
Is it pretty obvious, like, that Arazu is being just competitive?
Yes.
Yeah, Jin knows.
If no one else knows, Jin does, and if you want to use your insight to try and
Well,
gauge
he's also
between them,
concerned about Urdu. So now that he's within range, that he doesn't have to worry about like the rest of you, he is like.
the concern is genuine, but also the.
Well, he
Like,
has
they-
concern for Jin, but now that they're within range of the same place, he can just bolt.
All right. As you were nearing the entrance, you do see the same two stone golems posted out front. I don't know if that changes anything about what you would like to do, Arazu.
I've been here
Okay.
enough times. I probably just say, "Hello, boys," and just.
Okay. Hot on your heels is Lucian, Alaris, Jin, Skava. Lucian, as he's running past, reaches out and pats them familiarly, is kind of like saying hey to a bouncer before you enter, you know, just like, hey, how you guys doing? And runs in. You head towards, I think I said it was a right, goes to Urdu's lab. He doesn't go there. He does not head towards her lab. With familiar steps, he races through the castle to a wing you didn't go to last time. Two stone golems are stationed outside a doorway far down
An
the hall.
infirmary.
Yeah.
Do I know where I know where this is?
Yes, we've
Um,
had Jin there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Ha.
recognize it, but Arazu went to Urdu's labs. So you did get there first, but you went to the wrong place. I know, I didn't plan that. I wrote that, but that was you.
Why I stayed with?
That was me. So as you reach what Jin and when Arazu gets there, he will recognize as the infirmary. 2 more stone golems like the ones that you saw last time are posted outside that door, and they allow you entrance easily now. As you enter, you see the one from the lab that you recognized from last time holding Urdu as she's laying back in its arms. She is, for all intents and purposes, lounging. She's reading this enormous, heavy book that she has propped on her stomach, but she's laying down and kicking her feet, kind of like idly over its arm. On the other side of the room, you see a different type of golem that is decked in full armor and is holding a bound and gagged human who appears to be unconscious. And another of the same armored golems stands next to it and watches all of you as you enter. Lucian doesn't even bother saying anything to any of you, walks straight up to the golem and holds his arms up. Urdu kind of lets out like this excited cry, basically puts her book on the golem's head and squirms out of his arms and jumps into Lucian's. And he hugs her really tight, eventually puts her down and like holds her at arm's length, checking her over to see where she's injured. As soon as her hooves touch the ground, she lifts her sleeve up and shows that most of her upper arm is wrapped in a bandage. You can see some blood coming through it, but it's a very clean bandage, and it looks like that bleeding has stopped.
As soon as Bassam, I would imagine we'll see like Arazu, like because she's been taking her time, sees Arazu like turn around because she's following Wizkava. Like she wanted to keep her in sight, but we'll see Arazu come back, and then we'll just like pull out some gloves. Like latex isn't a thing, so there's like just some leather gloves, put them on, like grab a handkerchief, tie it around her, or dab it in some alcohol, tie it around her face.
I just reach out and say, it's good that you're a follower, and lay on hands.
Okay.
Why is everyone in a tick measuring contest this week? What's happening? Okay.
Well, I'm just like, if she's so. I would like to amend that I was about to cast Greater Restoration, so to actually heal injuries, not heal hit points. So I don't know what she's being hurt, how damaged she is.
You know what? I'll say that you both do the thing that you're looking to do, and she does. The wound does heal. Her hit points are restored, and the wound heals into a scar. And surprisingly, you can see that most of her arm is covered in scars, and when you look close, you can see her hands are, and her other arm as well. Very clearly, some are longer cuts, some look like burns, some look like punctures. You didn't notice it last time because she gesticulates so much you didn't really see her standing still long enough. Jin and Arazu, you may have noticed this before, but the rest of you would at least be, when you notice this, surprised that she's covered in scars, her arms. And she protests a little bit at everybody, freaking out like, I told you it's just a scratch. It's really okay. It wasn't even that bad. I didn't bleed for too long.
That's not what mine says. Mine says punctured a lung.
And you were still bleeding when we got here. What about that?
I didn't puncture a lung. He punctured a lung.
You were not clear.
I still walk up to her and thump her in the forehead.
Yes.
At which point, Bassam, he punctured. Well, let's figure out what's going on with him, and then with way less care, we'll like take out some scissors and just like declothe him, just to see what the injuries are on this guy.
In order to do that, you would probably have to address the golem and tell it what you want to do, because it has its arms wrapped around his torso, holding him upright, and he's unconscious.
Do you mind if I look at him?
I will say this: Alaris has been like zipping around the room, enjoying being able to fly under Jin's spell, and she kind of like lands on the guy's head, like just like
Which one?
The guy in the golem's arms. She just kind of like lands 1 foot on his shoulder, 1 foot on his head, and is on his head, and is like rocking his head back and forth.
Okay, yeah, he is still unconscious. He's still out of it. You can see bloodstains through what clothing is visible beyond the golem's arms. When Auntie addresses the golem to tell him that he wants to treat him, it'll look at you and then look over at Lucian and Urdu. Lucian then looks at Urdu for permission, and she nods and says, "Yeah. Let Auntie do what she wants to do." And so the golem will take him and lay him out on one of the infirmary beds.
Yeah.
He is bound around, his arms are tied together, which are tied to his upper body. His feet and ankles and knees are all tied together. One of the ones around his ankles looks like someone tried to end it with a bow, but it's like heavy rope, so it doesn't have that cute effect that they were probably aiming for. But very well secured, so you would either have to undo some bindings or take time to cut around them and keep him bound, or...
Bassam is... I'm going to need to remove the bindings, or you're going to have to remove the bindings, or I can't get him healthy enough to interrogate.
The golem looks over at Urdu again, and she says, "Yes, do what Auntie asks right now." And it nods and reaches over and just rips apart the ropes.
And then I basically, like, with no care at all, just with scissors, just cut off the clothes. Don't care.
Okay.
Miss Urdu, everything seems to be fine here. I'm glad to hear you're okay. Do you know where the closest washroom is, or wash basin? I got some clothes down here I need to clean, apparently, because they're not clean. Not clean enough. I mean,
yeah.
It smells nice.
I can do prestidigitation for you, doll. I can clean you up.
I think it was attempted already. I'm saying it was just a little persistent, that there is some material. So she would direct you to a washroom that's actually adjacent to one of the smaller kitchens nearby, because that's where most of the hot water plumbing would be, and it would make it easier. Think more Victorian era in terms of how the laundry's done, with massive hot water basins and soap and all of that kind of stuff. So
Okay.
she would direct you, and you would
Anyone
have
else
to
need
access
anything
to that.
wash while I'm in there? Real quick, I just clean whatever. No?
Urdu
That works?
will say, actually, if you don't mind, she'll probably just hand you the wrappings for her bandage that are covered in her blood.
Yeah, sure. Be my pleasure, Miss Urdu. Thank you.
Help yourself to the kitchen while you're over there as you leave.
So I would like to get. I'm gonna try to do a medicine roll.
Okay.
But I
do
want
you plan
I want to make sure that I'm trying to use as little of my spells as possible, but I'm trying to get like any of the truly life-threatening injuries off of this guy. But at the same point, I want some injuries that are still painful.
You don't want him to
available.
die, but you want him to be pliable should you wish to interrogate him.
Yes.
Got it. Go ahead and make that roll. For the wash roll, Terry, you're fine. You get things clean, and you might be unfamiliar with this type of soap, but it's just washing clothes. You didn't fuck it up that bad.
Oh,
Yeah,
19.
Has Guy showed up at all?
Nope. You could ask about that if you'd like.
Well, I just was going to address the fact that these stones clearly need more memory space.
Guy is not there at the moment. If you want to say something about that to Urdu, you can.
We'll find him after we're done playing with our new friend.
So as Auntie is checking him over, actually no, you already did that, so never mind. I just never got to describe him. Okay, so as you're looking him over, Auntie, timing, the man definitely does appear to be human. He has light blonde hair and pale skin. Now that you have essentially stripped him, you can see that around his chest and ribs, upper arms, all over his face and neck are deep purple bruises that are starting to go that nice sickly green around the edges when they're particularly deep. He was wearing dark linen clothing, and in a small pile on a nearby table seems to be what was his weaponry. And yeah, he is breathing slowly but deeply.
Does the weaponry match the other dagger, the poison one?
No. When you look at it, the weaponry is a small punch knife, the kind that you would like keep in your boot if you get in a bar fight. You use that. And an empty scabbard. Both of those are on the table. On top of that is a kind of wide short sword, which you notice the blade and tip of which are still covered in blood. Dried now, but clearly this is what stabbed Urdu. Auntie, with that medicine check, you are perfectly fine. You're able to, you wouldn't want to bind necessarily his chest with the risk of a rib having punctured a lung, but you can definitely tell that at least there are cracks or breaks in his rib cage. You're able to, we'll say, stabilize the situation, so he's not at risk of dying anytime soon, but he's still going to be in a tremendous amount of pain.
Okay. Is there any broken limbs or anything that I can set?
In this case, yeah, it would have been his upper arm.
Okay, so I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds at first level right before I set his arm as painfully as possible, and just be like, "Wake up!"
Oh,
I was just to say that wakes him up with a scream, and he tries to sit up. The golem immediately, arm out over his chest, pushes him back down. His legs are still bound, by the way, because you had only done the top half 5 minutes.
can I lean over him, like, really close?
I
so
didn't even have to roll that.
directly-
You would have gotten a natural 13 because you had 0 HP anyway. So.
Yeah, it's fine.
So once he's laid back down with the golem's hand on his chest, can I kind of like lean over in his face close enough so he can actually see the slits of my eyes and go, "Hi, we have some questions for you. And I would like to attempt an intimidation check, but I'm not really all that intimidating."
And
Are
I am
you
still
still
poking
flying?
bruises, and I'm like, these are weird colors. I might have to, like, and I'm going to take my scissors. I don't really have a sharper knife, but I might have to dig in them.
Jin, how long does that flight that you granted Alaris last?
10 minutes.
She- it probably would have run out by now. Damn it, because I was envisioning you hovering over his body like a true demon. That would have been great.
You could say it's been within the 10 minutes.
It's just starting to fade, sure. You're not quite flying as high, but it's starting to wear out. You're having to
Hey,
lean on-
Jin's sitting here having to concentrate on it.
Fair. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
if you want to
and
roll for that, you're more than welcome to.
do I have advantage from everything going on?
Yeah, no, he's fucked up right now.
Oh, I am great. Top 10.
Jin will
less-
walk up and he will now, I would call you a friend, and he passed him on the shoulder, a little roughly. But you stabbed somebody really important to me. So what I would like to know before things get a little out of hand and all these angry people start doing very, very terrible things to you, you just tell us what you know, why you're here, why you stabbed somebody.
So he is immediately overwhelmed. He's being threatened and intimidated by 3 people and a massive
I'm not
golem.
intimidating.
I know,
per se.
no,
I'm
you're fine.
persuading.
And
You're-
I have not said a word. I am just setting his.
You said that you were going to have to investigate his wounds.
Oh, yeah, I
with
did say that.
Tears. Yeah, no. He's sufficiently confused and freaked out and looks at all of you in total confusion. He doesn't recognize any of you. None of you recognize him. And instead he goes, "Where's the witch?"
That would be me, honey. And then I'm gonna go ahead and prod one of his bruises with my scissors.
Okay, he cries out in pain, and Urdu leans over and goes, "I think he meant me."
But you're not the witch.
She shrugs.
Auntie, I don't think that's necessary.
I would love your assistance, actually. Unfortunately, I have. You're much better at these types of intricate procedures, Wizkava, than I am. I tend to be a little clumsy at times, and kind of tapping on the bruise.
Could everyone really quick roll me, we'll say perception checks.
Perception or insight?
Perception.
Okay. I am
you would-
going so great tonight.
What's that hilarious? Doll, you would be able, it's a laundry room, like it's designed for this, so you would be able to find lines that probably retract into and out of the wall and would hang near a heat source, so they would dry pretty quickly. Okay. So, everyone but Alaris. Doll, since you're not in the room, I appreciate you rolling anyway, but you don't notice because you're not there. So Alaris, you are distracted because you are focused on this guy. The rest of you hear Lucian and Urdu discussing this guy. Lucian's asking, like, what did he say? She responds that just the usual mess of calling her a witch, saying that, Guy's a witch. Clearly, you would know incorrect. Yeah, she's not a witch. Auntie's the witch. But this recalls specifically to Wisconsin, maybe from the conversations that you've had before with locals who are distrustful of them as a family. When she says that he was kind of spewing the same stuff, Lucian looks very concerned and glances over at the human and says, usually that comes with theft, though, not assault. She's like, well, he jumped out. He tried to stab me, but I was fast enough. The golems got him. Look, it's fine. But he doesn't look convinced. Something about this is, and for Jin and Arazu, who maybe would have been around when people broke into the property before or caused problems, this does seem different. Usually attempted murder isn't super high on the list, especially for Urdu. Guy, sure. But usually that hasn't happened very frequently. Certainly not twice in, what's it been, a couple of weeks? Not even.
I asked him who sent him, if anybody sent him.
At that, he, despite everything, glares at you. Despite clearly still being terrified and in tremendous pain, he glares at you.
I stab him in the leg.
Okay. God, I don't even think I should make you roll for that, because he just cries out. Oh, go ahead.
So I was hoping to back Jin up. As he's going to stab this guy in the leg, I would like to use prestidigitation and start heating his ears up.
I missed it as if somebody's about to if they're about to stab this guy in the leg, Bassam will actually turn around and actually try to stop them with a grapple. They'll try to grab his arm.
Well, it's fast. Jenna's going to get shoved by Wiskava after he does this, too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Here
if this
comes
is happening,
player versus player.
if this is happening really fast, we'll say, Jin, maybe this would be not necessarily a sleight of hand, but I guess Dex would be closest for speed, and Auntie will say the same for reflexes to grab and stop him.
Okay.
Dex check or Dex saving throw?
I guess
Check.
Dex checks? Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, I probably grab you, but not after you stab him.
Not soon enough. Yeah, so Jin manages to stab him. Auntie, you can grab his wrist.
I grab his wrist and I will actually make him leave the knife in.
Leave the knife
Wiskava
in.
had something going on there too.
But Wiskava just pop right to Jin's chest
To push him away. Okay. Before everyone starts actually fighting, the pain of that, yes, has him screaming again, trying to sit up, but his legs are bound still. He is being held down by the golem. And instead he starts ranting, kind of in that almost feverish way of when you're in so much pain, it's just words come out. He starts ranting that, I'll just read it. He says, the monarchy will fall and the witches and savages who support them will fall alongside them. The gods will punish you with demons and hellfire. Going on and on. Partway through a sentence, suddenly Lucian is there and his hand just reaches out and he grabs the man's jaw and pushes it closed, until the back of his head is resting on the table, effectively just shutting him up without actually having to cover his mouth. He's just pushing his jaw shut. And that's it, is he just silences him and goes, okay, I think we all need to calm down.
As much as I was trying to get him to talk, and she's directing this to Jin, and actually stabilizing the knife, trying to make it not move at all.
Okay, he's not making that easy because he's thrashing around like a lunatic.
Right, she's trying her best to push down on his leg and stabilize the knife. Okay. Bassam is gonna look that was uncalled for.
He's talking.
Do you want me to roll the shove?
Yeah. I don't know how you want to do this. Are you aiming to do damage to Jin or just?
No, it's a shove. She's pushing him back.
Okay.
So
I don't. Sure.
It's an
And if
strength check.
was say, I don't know if anyone else also wants to respond to that, but
Nope, just uncomfortably heating the guy's ears up.
oh, you're still doing that. Okay.
I'm still doing that while Guy is holding his mouth closed.
Oh. I got one for you.
Yeah.
Erzu's just going to look at Urdu and say, let me know when amateur hour's done and you'd like me to do what you asked me to do. I'm going to go find Guy. And he leaves.
So you leave before she says anything?
Yeah.
Okay, you start walking around the estate. Just. Oh my god! All right, we'll come back to you. So Wiskava shoves Jin back. Or actually, wait. So would that be a strength to
Yeah.
hold against that? Are you trying to brace against the shove, Jin, or are you letting
No.
him push you back?
A
You're just letting-
shove is a standard thing. It is athletics versus athletics.
Oh, it is.
Pretty sure
Okay, thank
Jen
you.
can't beat a 29 anyway, so.
Probably not. Okay, so yeah, you stumble back a step from Wiskava's shove.
And then Wiskava looks at the muted prisoner. I won't let them torture you. However, the last man that they caught is now food for her pet. And honestly, that is part of the circle of life. I'm not totally sure that my oath prevents that.
His eyes go kind of bug-eyed when you say food for her pets. Because you know that is part of the rumors out and about town is her menagerie. So his eyes go wide and he's still fighting, but it's less of a fight. He's settling down, but it could also just be exhaustion because he's actively bleeding from a dagger in his leg now.
At which point, Bassam like, Wiskava, as much as I would like to hear the rest of his little rant, I think we need to get this dagger out, and he's a little thrashy. Do you mind immobilizing his leg while I take care of this?
Before Wiskava can even say or move anything, the other golem that had been standing there reaches out and puts a hand on those legs, and he cannot move now. That's what it was there for.
Yeah.
Okay, I will go ahead and, with the right hand, pull the dagger out, left hand steaming the bleeding, and use another Cure Wounds.
Okay.
I will shift the prestidigitation from heat to make it feel just like weird tingles across his skin.
He's like shaking, almost like he looks like he's going into shock. He's clearly not physically comprehending all of the stimulus that's happening. And Lucian's noticing. So you said you have your hands there, like gesturing that you're doing this. So he looks from them to you and kind of like nods, like this interests him. This is okay.
And then I'm gonna take that dagger and I'm gonna cut his foot bindings.
He's still held immobile, obviously, by the golems, but the ropes fall away.
Lucian, I would like to hear the rest of his little tirade.
Really? Why? It's pretty clear that it's just the usual drivel. Although the demons are new.
Humor me?
He looks back at Urdu, who decides to step forward here and puts a hand on his arm. Says, he did mention the monarchy. I want to know if he's talking about the queen. His illusion agrees, nods, and takes his hand back, and the guy's just laying there in silence now.
Wiskava, I think you have this. I'm going to talk to Jin about proper etiquette for a bit.
Let's go school the Dro on how to treat prisoners.
Doll, can you make sure that no one does anything?
Doll's not in the room.
Oh, yeah. He's not.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of people to work with.
You're walking around looking for things to wash. You the only place that you've been to that you know for sure would be Urdu's lab, and you could definitely find things that need to be washed in there. There's old lab coats covered in ichor and nastiness. You, by all means, if that's what you're on a hunt for, there's that, and there are also the guest rooms that you guys stayed in. That laundry would be clean, but you could
He's
certainly.
cleaning and trying to organize anything he can find because after being to that university, he's got this itch on him.
Reorganizes the entire lab, and she can't find anything.
Does Dahl have OCD?
I'm
He
starting
does
to.
now.
Yeah, he does now. I'm starting to think something about that tower gave him
The trauma of seeing the prisoner stabbed has given him OCD.
He's not.
He walked by right there.
All
He
those
just
beds
walked
were
by and
not
kept
being made, so
walking.
we had to go back and make them all.
Yeah, he didn't see any of that.
I think it started in the tower, like Terry was saying, because Dahl did go and make all of the beds of the.
I missed that, but props to you.
Yeah, no, he did. He took whatever linens and pillows were half decent, and then tucked the rest of the beds and nice and.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, you can do that. So if Auntie wants to pull genocide,
Yeah, and Basan pulls him aside, puts on the hat, and then Auntie rails into the longest grandmother, like, what is rude and what isn't rude and what's allowed and not.
stabbing people.
Yeah.
At some point during your tirade, Lucian will lean back and look over at you and just like raise an eyebrow, like, really? No stabbing? Really?
Not prisoners.
Yeah, he's kind of like,
And actually, we'll go into the etiquette of questioning prisoners. It's like, implying torture, that's fine. Actually torturing, not a thing. We do.
Never mind that we have someone that can extract memories.
Yeah, like literally.
but that person's not in the room, is he?
And actually,
was
she will
not.
mention that. And like, literally,
That's why
if
he
we
ran.
want to force information, we have somebody that can literally pull information out of somebody's brain.
Yeah, he's AWOL at the moment, but
Well,
right,
We
Left
are
when that
giving
happened.
him a opportunity to come clean and like cleanse his soul. Not like if we just need information, we literally have access to that.
June has
Um,
Huh?
Does
What's
it- Does it look like Lucian is going to is going to let the guy speak?
Oh, he's already moved his hand. The guy is just not talking.
Okay,
He's
so
glaring at
sorry. As Lucian is getting ready to move his hand, Wiskava just says, "Remember, the next things you say will determine your place in the cycle of life."
He
Nepali looks over us all.
so he doesn't hesitate when you say that, but he looks at you consideringly because you follow the gods.
Of course.
Then what are you doing with these people?
Protecting the island.
They're the ones
Protecting
ruining the
people like
island.
you.
They're the ones corrupting it. And he genuinely seems to believe what he's saying.
And where have you seen this?
The evidence is everywhere. Look around. Here, let me find
Point it out.
Hold on, I wrote a thing. I just have to find it now. 'Cause I wrote it in the wrong section of the document. I don't know where.
Dark elves, half orcs, bareheaded.
I feel like I've watched this movie. It's a weird French martial arts movie.
No, but I should have. Damn it. I could have.
I can't remember what it is. I actually really like that movie.
I can't either, but I know what you're talking about. Let's see. So instead of launching into a spiel, he looks down and first of all, suddenly seems to realize that he's naked and is not comfortable with that. Oh no, he still has his pants on. That's right.
No,
So he
I
knows-
would have taken it like, well, yeah, because I didn't have time because.
Yeah, you cut off his leg bindings. So he notices that he's unbound, but he gestures towards one of his boots, towards Wiskava, and goes, I have proof in there, evidence. And he's gesturing towards his boot.
And he's pushed down, right? Like I'm not.
Oh yeah, no, he's
Yeah. Okay.
he's completely restrained by
Well, let's look.
massive armor.
And I go grab his boot
Okay.
and look at it.
Sure. Inside his boot, you find a folded up piece of parchment. Let's see. Let's see. It looks like, for lack of better words, a flyer or a pamphlet. At the very top is a large symbol. It is a spiral. You, with your religious background, would recognize that it is the symbol of Poimana reversed rather than the traditional clockwise spiral. It is going the opposite direction. And,
I'm not there.
I know you're not there. It's unfortunate that you left the room.
I'm just saying blasphemer.
So it's a spiral.
That's Arizu's god, right?
Arizu's god, and you would know that at this point because it's been mentioned several times. And out of it is a 8-pointed star is bursting from the center of the spiral. On the page in clearly like printed block, like not quite a printing press because I'm imagining that Suabos doesn't quite have that yet, but as near as can get to mass production. What it says, I'm not going to read it. I will type it. Cut and paste, my friend. This is what it says on it. I'm going to give you guys a second to read it, also because I'm hungry, so I'm going to drink my smoothie. Hold on.
Is Wizkava reading this out loud, or because the rest of us don't see this, right?
No, you don't. I mean, you see all of this happening, but unless Wiskava decides to pass that around.
Actually, no, she does. When she gets this, in a very like when an actor is acting like they're an actor
Yes,
in a play,
I know
like
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That very
very over the top, like I'm purposely being dramatic.
I've taken 5 classes in acting. I'm a method actor. Go ahead.
And, I mean, I'm convinced. Aren't we all?
His eyes actually light up.
Shouldn't we all? And then I look at him. Oh wait, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Well, I was just saying when Auntie gets the pamphlet, she just starts cackling, like just giggling, and we're like, "Hold on a minute!" Like in the middle of her like spiel to Jin about the proper etiquette of interrogation versus torture, we'll just start laughing and like, "Hold on, I want to talk to this guy about what the gods want, honey."
When you say that, his eyes light up and he immediately believes that you agree with him.
So at the end of this, I stop the dramatic. I look at him and I say, "These are the words of a man or a woman. The gods don't talk like that." And then I will message to him, "The gods talk like this."
He can't rear back because he's bounced to the table, but you can see as much as he can, he leans away from you and he looks at you, he goes, "Witch, you're a savage." Like the rest of it, and then Lucian silences him. Filth.
Okay. Auntie will literally like, "Honey, that's not a witch. You're looking at a hero of the people. That is at most a scientist." And she actually does the false image now of the old lady. "This, honey, this is a witch."
He's struggling against Lucian's hand as much as he can, but he's starting to trip off. Like you could tell he's getting exhausted. He's been stabbed. He is still injured, restrained, like he's gonna pass out soon.
You talk about what the gods want. Have you talked to God? I think Wizkava has heard their signs. I've literally died got cursed in this fucking hat. I've talked to the gods. I don't know what the fuck they want. I've lived for a millennia, and she actually does air quotes. Millennia. I've lived for millennia on this god-forsaken planet, and give me and the gods don't know what the hell they want. Now I could tell you, maybe these people are ill-advised or messing with things they don't understand. But this, and then she kind of like whaps him in the nose with the pamphlet.
Bad puppy.
This is
Well, I actually don't give you the pamphlet.
Oh,
Oh, you read it out loud.
I read it out loud. Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
She indicates the pamphlet that, and then fucks him in the nose. That. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say while you're doing this, I do show the pamphlet to Jen so you can see the symbol.
Yeah.
Since Erizu's not there.
yeah.
And I will actually lean towards Lucian and go, so can you fill us in a little bit regarding the queen and her filthy consort? Like why they're so against, why, and she directs her hands down to him, why the people who do not have access to the higher sciences or magic are so set against the queen and her consort currently. I mean, I know it goes in waves. You've got good monarchs, you've got bad monarchs, but could you fill us in specifically with the modern day ones? Because I've kind of been in the Warren or wandering around with Bassam and Auntie, so I'm a little out of the loop.
And Auntie will continue on with hers and say, I've seen revolutions. Revolutions, yeah, you depose your tyrant to replaced by another tyrant. This is the writings of somebody who wants power that is slightly below the people that have it. I wouldn't be surprised if the woman you just stabbed had printed this, or the man who's holding your mouth shut right now. In fact, Lucian right here, the fact that he stopped your little rant is probably the reason why he did that. Use your brain. Use your heart. Don't trust this fucking images. Don't trust fucking paper to tell you what to think, what to do. This isn't proof. This is this is idiocy reprinted for the masses to use to explain the shithole that is their life.
As you're ranting at him, and Lucian is continuing to hold him. He's struggling to make eye contact with you, but he's growing more and more irate the more you talk, and he is just constantly fighting to free himself. And eventually, as you're talking, he just straight up passes out.
Okay.
Like he's just out now. When Lucian notices this, he'll take his hand away and let his head flop to the side and go, well, yeah, I guess there's a little more going on than we thought. And out of character. So I have a section on since you were asking, Becca, I have a section on the politics of Maka, specifically the monarchy. It's not completely done because some of the sections have to go in, I have a section in the Druids section about the, socio-political aspect of it, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
What I could do now, though, is if you guys want to ask, I could just explain it, or I can post it later.
Post it later. That seems good.
Okay.
Okay. Registered to vote, just let you know.
Huh? I didn't hear.
Doll is registered to vote.
I mean, so it's
We
not
made the
elections
stickers
in
for
that sense,
everyone that
but
actually voted.
there are elected officials. That is a part of it. Not quite democracy, but there are republic aspects, especially on some of the other islands.
At which point, Auntie will actually wander off and be muttering about how a millennia has passed and people are still falling for the same old shit. Right.
Mhm. a lot of the rhetoric actually would probably be reminiscent of various other revolutions that you have seen against governments just in general. Everyone kind of tends to use the same lines.
More like weird moralism without actually giving an idea what is supposed to replace it. Yeah.
Yeah.
At which point she actually, so I will say Auntie actually does give both Lucian and I'm blanking on her name.
Urdu. It's okay.
Urdu. Lucian and Urdu both kind of a weird look because she has a natural tendency to suspect like the middle nobility.
If you want, you could roll like insights or try to tell me what you're.
I will insight Lucian. I was not paying attention. There is no way I would have been paying attention to Urdu, but specifically, I'm inciting when I kind of accused Lucian of being the person spreading this bullshit.
Okay. Oh, and you rolled it well. He is crazy offended that you think he would be involved in this absolute drivel. It's very clear that when Wiskava was reading it, I'm imagining through your fits of laughter, you probably saw people's faces, and you noted his in particular was just complete disbelief at this garbage. Yeah, so he's very offended that you would that you said that they could.
Yeah, it wasn't implied. I restrained.
Yeah, you accused them, and he sends you a nasty look for that, for sure.
And she would have just given him like kind of a knowing, like, okay, maybe I don't suspect you anymore, but you have to understand this is kind of the bullshit this happens, like that kind of like. Don't be offended. You know exactly what position you're in. Like, if
it had been Urdu, maybe she would have like accepted that with a nod, but he does not.
Yeah.
He is a spiky ego. He's a little like.
But yeah, I just walk off muttering, and I'm gonna go talk to Doll about how the stables are doing. I wander off.
Okay. What would everyone else like to do? I know. Oh, Arazu, throughout all of this, you've been wandering the halls and have not come across Guy.
What a turd.
So what would you like to do?
I'm literally just going to continue a nice cool sentry pattern until I find him or find someone that might know where he is that can speak, because the golems probably won't, unless they point. If the golems would be the sort to point, then he would ask if any of them know which direction Guy is.
So, since you had kind of lived here or you'd stayed here before, you would know that the golems don't speak, but you know that any of them know at any time where different members of the family would be. So, if you were to ask one of them where Guy is, if he was in the premises, they would lead you to him. If you want to ask one where Guy is, it shakes its head at you.
Aww,
which you could probably know to mean he's not here.
What a turd.
So Guy is not on the premises.
Well, then I guess I'll go to my room and hang out until Urdu tells me she's ready for me.
She's probably ready for you now, but okay.
She has a sending stone. She can call me whenever she wants.
It's already been used today. We're using normal sending stone rules again because I overused the walkie-talkie earlier.
And this is what I want to talk to Guy about.
I know. It's just you were too close to the ley lines. It fritzed it. He has to redo the circuitry and fix it. And
its equipment is faulty.
It's military quality equipment, so it's got to get fixed. So yeah, you now know that Guy is not on the premises.
Okay. Eris goes to his room and he's waiting for Urdu to tell him that she wants him to come do her thing.
Okay. Anybody else?
Alaris is going to turn to Lucian after we have our discussion regarding politics. Point to our prisoner and go, what do we do with him?
Urdu will actually step up and go, I was going to have Arazu just find that out for us since he doesn't seem to want to really share anything. Earlier, he was just yelling something about us being a part of the threat to the gods. And she particularly does make a face of that and look over at Wiskava because,
To be fair, you all could, Guy especially, could try to blend in more.
She actually snorts a laugh at that, and so does Lucian. They both laugh like, he's not real keen on that. I mean, you've met him. Lucian does a much better job at blending in. I can if I want, but most people aren't as interesting as the things that I can find. And she's referencing her creatures. For all that she can handle herself socially, and from what you've gathered, considering she's the one that contacted you all in the first place, she handles a lot of the social aspects of the estate. So there's that, but she much prefers to be left with either her experiments and her creatures, or people who are like-minded and want to be involved in those experiments, or are just going to quietly hang out nearby and listen to her ramble.
Well,
Guy is just that guy.
Mm-hmm.
well, let's get Arazu here as soon as we can then to at least learn what, she kind of taps his forehead, what he has in this brain of his outside of the political spiel.
Did that note look like it was personally made, or does it look like it was like mass produced a little bit? Like,
So the embossing on it, or not embossing, I guess this would be at this. I don't know what stage Suabos is at, the printing press. I don't think you guys probably, is that a technology available, Scott? Do you guys have that on the planet?
Hold on. Printing press would be available at this point. Okay. It's up to you whether it's made it here. The printing press it's actually ancillary to our own world. It was actually invented by another culture, and then somebody else decided they invented it. But
one of those.
Completely.
But yeah, the printing press would be invented in most of the major continents. It's up to you if it has made its ways there.
It would have recently gotten here. Before then, they probably would have had more Semitic methods of people who had their lives dedicated to copying things very precisely. So you would have very dedicated scribes. Now, though, you can tell this is mass produced. You can see some of the telltale signs for where the beats of the stamps would have hit. So this is mass produced. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to figure out if this was like more individual cases or if this is going to be like a widespread problem. But that pretty much answers that problem.
Yeah, you can tell that this. I mean, obviously you can't tell. There's no like marking on it, 1 of 100, but this is definitely a mass-produced pamphlet. I haven't decided precisely what to call it yet, so we'll call it a pamphlet for now.
And it wasn't signed by anything like a organization or a group calling out?
The closest you can tell is maybe that's what the symbol is for, because again, you would know that that isn't actually Poimana's symbol. It is a reverse of it.
Blasphemers.
So, yeah, so that's where you guys are at now. You want to continue?
Wiskava's just hanging around in the room.
Okay.
Making sure that mostly she just doesn't want the guy to get fed to a gibbering mouther.
If you make any kind of comments or allusions to that, Urdu will actually say, you don't have to worry, I won't. I mean, Gibbers is full. He's not really hungry, so I wasn't going to bother.
Today.
Oh, no, he probably won't be hungry for a while. That last one filled him up for several months. Like, he won't need to eat again for a bit.
But the other creatures I have, they're a little...
They're on a strict feeding schedule. And my newest comer doesn't seem to like meat, so far he likes fruit and sugar. But yeah, so she'll try to make, since she saw Wiskava's reaction last time, and now this time, she will try to reassure her that I'm not going to feed him to any of my peeps. It's okay. I understand, though, and she doesn't take offense. Lucian's not paying attention to any of that. He is monitoring the guy at the moment. Whoever wants to go and fetch Arazu can certainly do that. Do we want to just say that happens?
Yeah, Jen will go get Arazu.
Okay, Arazu.
When Jen leaves, Gustavo will message him on his way out. I want you to know I understand, but the greater love I found won't let me.
Kinky.
Wait, you've ruined
Leave it to fucking Chester. I would like.
just can't.
You
I
can
hear that.
ruin anything by saying kinky at the end.
Yeah, right.
I will like to say that Bassam, because she takes off the hat because Auntie is both like is weird and will like walk up to Doll, who's still working on the caravan, right? Or the wagons.
No, I mean I can work on the caravans, but basically I was going around cleaning stuff.
Okay, she will find Doll and just like sit down, probably on the thing you were just cleaning, and like collapse into it and just be like, you know, I don't have as much knowledge as Auntie does. She's been alive, I think, way longer than all of us. Maybe not as long as you. I honestly don't know how. I don't know much about you, Doll, and I feel like that's a travesty, a little bourgeoisie as it was.
Wait.
Sure, he can say bourgeoisie and I can't say kinky.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Is Bassam, is that intentional?
What?
Scott, is that intentional that Bassam's using the word bourgeoisie here?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, well, Miss I don't know how old she is either, but I mean I can wash that hat now that you're not wearing it now. Well, it looks a little messy.
She's longer than she even she's been alive or in whatever state she's been in for a long time. I want to say the 15th owner of that fucking hat.
Well, if you don't want it, you can always sell it to somebody. It looks really nice, I'm sure.
It's my burden. I was born not far from here, although I don't quite know where. She found me in an orphanage. Her previous owner, anyways. I wanted to be a doctor. She taught me how to be a doctor.
We can get some tea while you're talking.
Fuck no, not tea. Whiskey. I need fucking whiskey.
I'm not sure if I got whiskey. I can look around. I'm pretty sure I got cooking wine. I don't think I got whiskey. But if I got whiskey...
But we're not talking about me. What about you, Doll? I don't know anything about you. You're a panda head on a... I'm assuming a panda body.
What's Doll at right now? Are you panda, polar bear, or black bear right now? In the ring of your flesh.
Yeah, probably black bear right now.
Okay. You're a bear of varying species. And I've never met one like you, so what's your story, Doll?
Well, I don't really have a story. I'm just hired here to cook. I don't know. I can't remember as long as I remember food's been my passion. And I like to bring that to everybody.
Well, except for what it does to my lower intestine, or what it does to my lower intestine. Auntie loves the taste fine. I just wish that I didn't have to deal with the aftermath of it.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't know what has happened. I mean, I make food for everybody. Some people don't mind it. Some people like it. I know I have some trouble over time, but you know, not everything works well with everybody's system.
I think Auntie might just, because it's my body, so it's probably my body is allergic. It reminds her of something she really liked in a previous life, and she doesn't have to deal with the literal shitstorm that follows.
Well, I do apologize to that, Mr. Bassam. It's not really what I try to do, but it's how it comes out sometimes. I mean, everybody seems to like the cookies, but if you want something different, just let me know. I'll make something for you.
Next time Auntie cooks, can you please not give me the, like, it blocks me up something fierce, and then when it comes out, it is...
Well, I got something.
I'm sure you guys can smell it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It happens to the best of us. But I got something to clean you out real good, though. You need something after you eat. You won't have to worry about that.
Doll knows how to make digestives.
Well, I would definitely appreciate it. So, what I would just if Auntie ever gets some of your food, just acquiesce to her request, and then afterwards just let me know. She doesn't really tell me about like the mundane stuff. Please just like.
Are you calling his cooking mundane? Sorry, ignore me.
Just can you give me one of those, because it really hurts.
Yeah, anytime. You just need it. I just try to find it. Just, here you go. I do apologize. Hopefully I can find something that feels just right. Never eat it.
Me too. But still, I don't know anything about you, and I feel like none of us do, and I would really like to.
Well, I think it's better that way. I'm just a cook. I'm only here temporary until you guys don't need me for anything.
All right, keep your secrets, doll.
Well, I have no secrets. I'm just, like I said, I'm just a cook. I got a passion for food, and for some reason, it just ain't working for everybody. I try to cook one thing, nothing comes out. I make cookies, no problem.
Okay.
So, I might have to do a little bit of both. I think there's something wrong with this pan they gave me. Pull it out. I don't know if he gives any aura or anything special or anything.
Can I examine his pan?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Give me an arcane check.
Okay. Since I know this isn't exactly in the rules, since I'm a diviner, can I get like advantage on this by any chance?
Can't you just use your 20?
Yeah.
You could use your 20.
Is Bassam the diviner, or is Auntie Dreamgaze the diviner?
We kind of crafted the rules so that it applies. They're in the same entity in that way. You know what? Yeah, I'll give you advantage just to expedite this. Okay.
Sweet, 22.
Okay, don't make you use the 20. So with the 22, you can tell that this is a weird pan. It's also not from here. This is from probably one of the other areas of Suabos, wherever that campaign took place. I don't remember. I'm sorry, the exact name. And so this pan is from elsewhere, and you do see that there are like initials carved on the bottom as though they were put there when it was cast, not by the creator but for the owner, so it's personalized. It's Dahlia's. And there is a, for lack of a better word, transmogrification magic on it that seems very focused on enchanting what goes into it. And with that, I mean, it works for just one person.
Okay.
So that effect only works when Doll uses it, since, I mean,
Okay.
he's attuned.
Okay, yeah. Auntie will go ahead, or not Auntie. Auntie will tell Bassam something, but Bassam will be like, so honestly, cooking's never been my forte. As I said, I wanted to be a doctor. I think you didn't see that, but I was trying my best, despite what was going on.
I didn't see what, Mr. Song. What happened? I've been
there was a stabbing, and you know how we are.
We came here. Everything seemed to be fine. Miss Urdu seemed to be fine. She said she got stabbed. You said the other person.
There's a revolution going on. A lot of people are gonna die because people are fucking retarded.
You missed the revolution. There's propaganda now.
I'm just here to be a cook. I'm not trying to be any part of the revolution. I'm just one person.
No. I don't. One of the things that happens is Auntie shares her memories. I used to be a revolutionary. I used to do the spiked leather vest and like the wild mohawk haircut and the like anarchy in Ma'aka thing. But yeah, no, she showed me what revolution did. But no, we're not. I don't think we're revolutionaries. God, I hope we're not.
Your memories of the revolution wouldn't have been from Ma'aka. They probably would have been from elsewhere in Suabos.
Yeah. But she shared with me some of that. But no, what she's saying is this pan needs to be seasoned a little bit.
I season it every night before I go to sleep.
She was talking about bacon. I actually don't know what bacon is, but she's talking about bacon grease and grits and a bunch of other things. It needs a history in order for this pan to work properly.
It has a history. Just not a good or consistent one. But it
needs a consistent history of good tasting, is what she's saying.
Too many different dishes have been made in this one cast iron pan that now has the flavors of everything from like curry to fried fish to spaghetti to like everything's in that now. It tastes like everything.
I think you might need to focus on one like genre of cooking. And maybe we can fix the spice palette of this, and maybe we won't have nearly as many issues.
Well, I'm not for anything. I mean, I just want to make people happy.
No, I understand that, Doll. I think you are the best of all of us.
Well, shucks. Thanks, Ms. Bond. It means the nicest thing. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully when we get time, I can actually talk about what's going on with me.
I really wish. I really want to know all about you, Doll.
No, it's trying to make me blush.
That would be an interesting experience to see you blush.
Especially since I have a grizzly head right now.
Yeah, I'm like, man, I wish that you had the panda or the polar bear head because I'm like, you get the little rosy cheeks. All right. Not to interrupt your date, but your awkward first date of, so tell me about yourself. No, thanks. What would everyone like to be doing during this time while they are off chatting?
Well, I went to go get Erzu, so.
Wiskava does not trust this guy will not be fed.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Oh, I did also just notice what time it is. We can call it when Arazu and Jin come back, and we can pick up from there.
Sounds good.
If that sounds good.
Yep.
I know a couple messaging or whispering with a few of you, so we can stay on and chat about other in-game stuff. But
on the walk back, Arazu is gonna remind Jin that when people torture people before I extract memories, that means I also get to experience their torture when I extract said memories.
I would like to please be clear. At no point did Auntie/Basam actually, like, the worst part was resetting the bone, which had to happen anyways. It wasn't like she dislocated it and like it was a legitimate medical practice.
Wait, you did
conversation with
You
just
weren't
Arazu
tapping
and
on the
Jin.
bruises.
This is just Arazu and Jin reminding him as I left after Jin stabbed him in the way.
I will say for Auntie or Basam, the difference in